First already. Holy cow. Like, how did that happen? Seriously, you know? Oh, I'm sitting down, by the way. I'm feeling a bit tired. Feeling a bit menopausal. No, I'm not menopausal. I'm postmenopausal. I'm feeling a bit tired, I think, of um what? Of constant stress. And it's not the stress really, it's the trying to stay positive in between.
Yeah.
That is a really, really hard thing. Staying positive, especially if you are creatives and you earn your money from your work, your artwork, and you don't rely on funding and you don't have grants, etc. And so you work, and then you fund your other projects with any money that whatever, comes your way. And boy, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Goodness me. You're constantly having to stay on top of things. So people don't quite understand what creatives have to contend with, because especially people who have the 9 to 5 jobs, who don't, who either have given up their creative calling or don't have a creative calling and have the calling to be administrators, sorry, and organizers, etc., etc. Not everybody was born with otherwise who everything. I mean, sorry, yes, darling.
I think create art. It just depends what you define art as.
Okay, that's a wonderful point, because then art is just purpose. So
Yeah.
Everyone has purpose.
Yeah.
Everyone has purpose. I'm getting that microwave. We really do need to find a black microwave. It's fucking nuts. That's better. If you're going to have a backdrop, it has to be pretty. We're in Studio K, so that's fine. But I wouldn't mind a black microwave to match our black kitchen. And our black appliances. We do have other black appliances. And this dishwasher, it's white. White goods. What does that mean? Gosh. I love that our oven, stove, etc. is black. Okay, I have digressed. Goodness. So this is just, thank gosh I do, so I can distract myself from stress. So as I was saying, so it's daily living is really crazy. So if you haven't got a mortgage, you've got to pay for your dwelling in some form or the other. So rent, or board, or if you're staying in a hotel or whatever, you've got to pay for your dwelling. And then on top of that, you've got to pay for food and beverage and water. You've got to pay for the cost of getting that water to you. For your daily needs and for your weekly needs, and for washing yourselves, washing your clothes, washing your environment, washing your dishes, washing your washing. And then electricity, which should really be free for everybody, because look at that great big electricity plant up in the sky. But no, we're not going to do it that way. Okay, so I still appreciate the way we get electricity, even though it is being done at the cost of our life cycle. I don't necessarily feel it's the life cycle of the Earth, because as you have said, darling, an hour for Earth could be 10,000 years for humankind, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So that's why I'm now specifying our life cycle. So climate change in our life cycle, we seem to have expedited because of manufacturing greed. Manufacturing needs that then became greed with this idea. So there's this idea of, it's called cornucopiaism. Cornucopia. If you don't know what cornucopia is, you've certainly seen the Horn of Plenty. It's a horn, I can't remember. It's a Celtic or Gaelic. I don't know where exactly the myth of the Horn of Plenty comes from. So that's what a cornucopia is. I do know the etymology, but I have forgotten. So thank you, darling. Now, cornucopia, it's actually a form of a philosophy of life. And it's very capitalist. It's about Earth has given us lots of things for ourselves, and it doesn't matter. We're superior to Earth, and that comes with humanism. I had a thought that humanism might be a good way to be, but it does require you to feel superior and better, and not superior and better, but just see yourself as top of the food chain. So you're looking up cornucopia stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't think that way. I know I don't, and I know Dwayne doesn't. So, and then we don't think that way. So this is what cornucopia. In classical antiquity, the cornucopia, from Latin cornu, horn, and copia, abundance, so copious, also called the horn of plenty, was a symbol of abundance and nourishment, commonly a large horn-shaped container overflowing with produce, flowers, and nuts. So really, to me, that is Earth. That is the way Earth is. Earth is the cornucopia, the horn of plenty. And maybe because we've said something about, like, Earth. What if, anyway, we won't talk about that now. We talk about that amongst ourselves, about Earth's role. So in baskets or panniers, so that's baskets of this form, were traditionally used in Western Asia and Europe to hold and carry newly harvested food products. The horn-shaped basket would be worn on the back or slung around the torso, leaving the harvester's hands free for picking. Of course. And because I absolutely understand. So how lovely to have this. You have something, because that's the way I think the ancestors viewed the earth, as being endless abundance, which it is, endless abundance, if you also look after it, after Earth, and treat Earth, her, as being a wonderful source of abundance, a god, a goddess, a womb, constant source of abundance. And that's why woman has a womb. We are a constant source of abundance for the earth, because we are supposed to replenish the earth. We are custodians of this planet. And so cornucopia, right? So cornucopiaism, darling, is a form of thinking of, no, the earth will replenish itself constantly in our time. And it's a very greedy way to be. And this is how the elite think. Like, nah, forget climate change. It's done me good, kind of thing, to constantly take from the earth.
Yeah, it's a natural occurrence, so don't worry about it.
That's how the billionaires feel. So they constantly mine the earth, petrochemicals, etc., people, fossil fuels. And I'm talking about electricity. I'm talking about
I've had conversations with people who say that there's heaps of trees. What are you talking about? We're destroying all the trees and stuff. And yeah, I get it. If you look around, there's heaps of forests.
Certainly, for us, we live in a jungle.
But there's a lot that has been decimated as well.
The important ones, like the lungs,
and the
Amazon.
the ones we don't see.
Yes, absolutely.
You go into a city that used to be a forest.
Everywhere we are, everywhere humankind is with our modern day infrastructure, used to be forest and jungle.
So,
So, yeah. But, okay, so we have a lot around us, but we're talking about the mass. Do we have enough to match the mass displacement? It's the mass displacement on the planet, because we are what do we give out? Carbon dioxide?
Yeah.
But it's contaminated carbon dioxide, because this air is coming out of us with some terrible thoughts in place. And all the waves, we're all so connected scientifically that you have to understand that this is spiritual. The atoms in the air, etc. And we're breathing out our contaminated air. Anyway, I am talking about cornucopiaism, which is an offshoot of humanism, which says that humans are the top tier species on this planet. And that, of course, if you think like that, then you start thinking amongst yourself that you're like that. So within the human species, there is then that hierarchy of thinking that, well, within the species, there are subspecies, and then there's a top tier hierarchy, and etc. So this is where the constructs come into it. And because if you view that way about yourself, all things being equal on this planet, then if you think you're the top tier, then of course you're going to think everything is inferior to you. And you're going to think that way about yourself as a racial grouping as well. So humanism is not for me. We, you and I, as I was saying, individually and then together, think of ourselves as, yes, we are a superior species, because we are on this planet along with the other superior species that we are meant to be in harmony with. So Yes, we do believe in the abundance of this earth, but we have to also give back to the earth and not just assume that the earth is our slave and just our supermarket. Of course, there's going to be lots of slaves in that supermarket chain, to get to that point of being a supermarket.
Well, it can't be a supermarket. You actually give back to the supermarket.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We pay for it. And before, so with the ancestors, the people who used to be with the cornucopia baskets, they did see this abundance that earth gave when they would toil the earth, when they would come together as families and as people, as communities, and toil the earth and do the work and have the purpose with joy, not with grief. And imagine a time when everything was done with joy. And I don't know if this was done only in the times before language and before understandings of groupings, of tribal ways, of differences in people and thinking, etc., that created the different cultural groups, the ancient groups, the current groups, etc. But yeah, it was. But then from there developed this idea that, oh, well, Earth is our slave. No, I don't feel that way. I don't think Earth is our slave at all. But Earth is definitely here for whatever we would like for ourselves, as long as we respect and love the Earth and give back. And if only in terms of thank you so much for the food we eat every day. Thank you to the people. When we thank the food, do we thank the people who toil to get us that food? Who gets the profits from this? Certainly not the farmers, certainly not the people who work on the farm. Who gets the profits? I agree that the people who say, I'm going to become the middleman, so to cut away from this to this, but why wasn't it done with profit? Why wasn't it done without profit in mind? Why wasn't it done with, we'll benefit, we'll reward the farmers and the farm workers for doing that hard work. Now we're going to do the hard work of getting this all around to the people who are doing the work of being able to pay us. Why can't it have all been done with equity?
You know what I just pictured? You sitting at a table pitching this to a bunch of white men just laughing. Listen to this woman. That's crazy. In this world, you're dreaming.
Tell her she's dreaming. Well, that's a great Aussieism to showcase, but why is it only white Australia that gets to be that person that says, well, I have a dream, and it's actually a visualization, and we are actualizing our dreams. Dwayne is making a flu bomb there. So we are actualizing our dreams, and it's very, very hard. It's not hard, it's easy. It's tough. It's tough because we've still got to do it with money. And so I am asking for sponsors for our show. Join us, grow with us. We've got a lot of things we have, brewing and on the boil and already served on a platter, waiting for other people to join us in contributing to the world's growth. Well, we need to pay them because this is how the world works, and these are the new people have put this in place. People have put this in place. So I read a horoscope from some white women, Euro-white women, twins astrologers who said, be careful of what you say. People are going to be offended. I offend by existing because I'm a brown woman. I speak the way I do. I say the things I do. And white people, when they listen to me, they say, oh, you're racist. I didn't realize you hated white people. I'm like, whoa, I love white people. I love Eurostream pop culture. I love Eurostream culture. That's all you have, pop culture as culture. But not at the expense of my culture, my melanin majority, the global majority. Not at the expense of that. I think you're lovely as newbies, as children. Like, look at what you've done, you exciting new generation. Each generation likes to think that they're the best. Great, well, this is what's happened. So understand that the next generation will actually go back to being brown because there's huge mixes happening. So the next generations will be like Dwayne, triracial. And like us both and me, I am full of the racial grouping, my racial ancestry, which is Southeast Asian, of India, North, and a little bit of South. But I was born in Fiji in the Pacific. I'm Indo-Fijian. So what is that racial grouping? And I'm a product of colonization. So we're the new generations, so the new life cycles. You know, it's not so the new generation of being, and so the Euro constructs being the newest evolution of humankind as humanity, as human beings were evolving into being a certain way in a certain, equation that can really further the planet. We have the ancestry and ancestors with their wisdom and spirituality and knowledge, and then you have the newly made people who have got because of their survival instinct, because they had to learn how to survive in cold climates while they were still people of the sun, and they had to, the brain then kick-started and evolved and lost melanin. Blue eyes developed and the skin lost melanin. First the hair and the eyes lost melanin, and the skin, because the skin is the largest organ and it is our body's protector. That's why we got melanin and the melanin cells that were created by our brain to protect us when we first stood up. Because at that stage, we didn't have melanin because we had fur. And I know this will offend people who subscribe to books that say that we're only 6,000 years old or whatever, or we just developed from something, etc. But science is way more spiritual, my friends. And we also ascribe to this, not theory, not ideology, but this way that, well, sure, people who have God voices have existed on this planet. So sure, Jesus, Yeshua existed. Sure, Muhammad existed, but so did the women. So did the women. Yes, Siddhartha Gautama existed, but he's not a religion. His was a philosophy. But where are the women? Where are the women? How can it be feasible to you that the women would not be the ones, first and foremost, being the, purveyors, the sharers, the conveyors, the carriers of the message, when we also have the womb? I chose not to use mine. Because I guess the womb for me is my mouth. And if we as cells then evolve and unfurled as a tree of life within the cell that got fertilized by unity, and if we then evolved, and then how the cell happens, it unfurls. First it comes out of the cell and then the embryo unfurls. And we once used to be joined at the pelvis and the jaw. The pelvis and the jaw were joined. And then it unfurled and then it unfolded. And that's why it's so closely connected, our genitalia and our brains and our mouths, our jaws. If you are feeling tight-jawed, massage your genitalia, and likewise massage your genitalia. Get someone, especially your partner, someone you can just give over your trust, or even with a friend, because it has to be done fully clothed. Do it with a friend and just say, trusted friend, I will do this for you, but do this for me. Not, it's not sexual, it's not sensual. You don't have to, but if you do have it with an intimate partner, then they can touch the more intimate side of you. But otherwise, just around the genitalia to unlock your jaws. Speak, open your mouths. Unlock everything that has tightened your pelvis. I mean, Sigmund Freud coined he didn't coin a term, he just coined the ideology or the psychology of being anal. People just tightly holding on to their things, so they hold, they become anal, hold on to everything, control freaks. And that, of course, directly impacts everything else, including and primarily our minds and the way we speak. Anyway, I am talking about cornucopia. But I am also talking about ideologies, etc., and what you had just said, darling, and being laughed at. And please do not think that we love that we are against. This is terrible. It's like a terrible thing because we always, and this is why people of color are angry, and this is why then also we become suspicious of other people of color. It's like, you're all apologists. You're just upholding the constructs. I don't want to uphold the constructs. The constructs need to change. But there is room for all of us. And yeah, the new generation who, because of their survival instinct, kick-started and decided to go and explore and conquer with it because, well, how come we don't have all of this? We're the smart ones, is how they thought. And so because they came upon the people of the ancients and the melanin, and who we were all just chill, like just getting our abundance and giving and praying to nature, etc. And that didn't sit well with the newbies. It never sits well with the young ones, does it? The teenagers and the 20-year-olds. Never sits well with them when the older ones are like, hey, All right? Cool it. No, we want it now. We want it now. We want to drink now. We want everything now. We want everything now. We're entitled to everything. And the more spoiled they are, the more entitled they feel they are to everything.
But then we have to remember that those adults were young as well, and they did the same thing.
That's right. But they seem to forget it's a convenient rite of passage. I don't think I'm not saying it's an RIGHT of passage. Hell no. It's become an RITE of passage, where people, as they get older, think, no, tell the young ones not to do that, because I know what I was doing at that age. It's terrible. Terrible.
Should I make cookies?
I think you should make cookies, darling. Ooh, because you're going to make, what is it called dolce con whatever?
Yeah, something.
Something. It's
It's
milk.
that thing.
Dolce ole.
I can't.
Oh,
remember
that sounds dolce latte or something.
Yeah, something. Like
Something where you have to do with condensed milk, and we just smear it.
Should I do that as well?
Yes, please, darling. Do the whole hog while I'm on in my flow.
We good? Sam?
We're good for time. I can talk. We didn't talk. We did record something for the Easter egg on Sunday, but I'm not sure if I want to. I was a bit harsh in that in some ways. I think that we all are so tired of harshness. We need to be gentle with some of the things. But you know that Dylan Thomas, this Welsh poet, his poem "Don't Go Gentle into the Good Night." That does mean. That's that Euro white way of go forth and conquer. That's that young person's way of go and do it. It's all the Euro construct cannot help the fact that they are engineered, they're designed by their brains, which came to being by their need to survive. And this is what they think makes them smarter. They don't understand that wisdom is what makes someone intelligent. And wisdom also knows that you don't know everything. This is why we all need to work in conjunction and with harmony with each other. But the newbies, the new developed people and the children, they get like they rebel. It's I like it when children rebel. It's like, good, question, but don't question my authority. Right now, don't question my authority, but question what I'm asking of you. And okay, I guess question authority. Yeah, question authority. Dwayne came across this meme the other day. Oh, well, in a meme form, post, like of this 24-year-old saying, what the hell was I so scared of my father for when I was a kid? He was only 24 then. And you laughed at it because your parents had you in their early 20s, had you all, in the early 20s. And it is that thing. As children, you're so scared of your parents. And you look now that you're at their age, you go, what? Well, now for me, now I can think back to my mother at the age I am now. And I think of my mother and how strong she was and how alone and how she absolutely enjoys how I am now, because she did not want that for me, that which she experienced, because she never told me. She let me go on to explore, to conquer. I don't want to use the word conquer, because it's to conquer my fears then. And I explored my capabilities and my talents and my skills, and that was, my mother never told me of how it was for her at 53. Anyway, so I am talking about cornucopia and cornucopiaism and how we see the world and how I think the Euro construct sees the world, because it's ingrained in them. Even the most well-meaning people in the Euro origin people think that they do still know best. Even the most well-meaning people, the women, the Euro white women, they mean well. They want to be able to help, but they want us to just let them do it. Because until we have to do the labor, until it goes all wrong, then can you guys now fix it? Or can you come and just tell me what I need to do? I mean, as a brown woman, I've had Euro white women friends do this to me all the time. And yet some of them I love. And so many, and not so many, I mean, I have a few, but so many of the few are Euro white women I respect and have solidarity with. But don't think you are superior to me based on your racial whatever construct, on your racial construct, because you're not. But I learned from you, so you should learn from me. Don't steal from me. And this is what the Euro construct has done. The Euro construct should have learned from the world, not stolen from the world, and then after stealing, suppressing and oppressing, and then colonizing, and then expecting us to be like them, taking and then repackaging everything that they learn from us and throwing it back at us. Look, there's things to be admired. We admire a lot of things that they've done. Sorry, the microphone fell. There's a lot of the ways they've done these things. I do hope the sound is on. I think so, but I wouldn't want to have lost all of this. There's so many things happening that is just here, darling. That shouldn't be happening right now, but that's because astrologers and people who don't, no, not astrologers, people who don't quite understand astrology will think it's because of Mercury retrograde. Because yes, my friends, it has started. However, what started before that were some incredible solar activity storms, geomagnetic storms, X flares, etc., etc. And thank you, darling. And these have sent the X flares have reached our environment, stratosphere, and they're affecting. They are affecting some of our satellites, and so therefore communications and connectivity. It has timed with Mercury retrograde, which in astrology terms mean everything that can go wrong, connectivity and communication wise will. So I have just lost access to something that I need. And this is what has sort of started this. Because holy cow, and I'll get back to it, I'll round it off with that. I'm still talking about all the things that I'm talking about. If I can find my thread again. The cornucopia. And I'm talking about ideologies and how I feel. This is just theorizing and imagination, something we do a lot on our podcast, Radio Fly. The link is in the bio. There's a lot of fun ones as well for the season 2, which is 2024, and we've got some episodes up, and they're not as long as before when I was unpacking my trauma. So the episodes are not as long. Some are just 15 minutes, some are 38 minutes, some are an hour and a bit because, But I am able to now constrain myself, and that is discipline and structure. And I do want to talk about discipline and structure because we had a wonderful example of that happening. And I would love to share my tips on how to, because we talk about budgets as well, and and we've talked with other people. And so we might be able to help you with planning, etc., because I really know how to manage money. Very interesting for someone who was so privileged and laissez-faire with it, and like, oh, look, money will just come from anywhere and everywhere. So considering that, I'm actually quite... I have learned some really good lessons from my ex-partner, who was an incredible financial manager. That's what his skill and brilliance is in. And that's what he was hired for from other people, to manage finances. And he would really do it. And he wouldn't do it, to his credit, he wouldn't do it at the, he would make sure he'd keep jobs, Yeah. His thing was all about keeping jobs for the people. Corporate wise, he wasn't interested in the corporate games. And unfortunately, that's what sort of held him back a little, because he was just absolutely seen as brilliant wherever he went. He helped every single. So I thought that and everyone assumed, because, yeah, look, I will say nice things about my exes, because I do have a lot of nice things to say about my ex-partners. But in my trauma fog, I also did choose people who had a lot of red flags. And and so I have always chosen high quality people. I only have high quality people in my life. But that does also mean high quality assholes. And some of my friends, more than my intimate relationships, my friends have been the high quality narcissists and saboteurs and high quality insecure people. But ex-partners have been narcissists, and they've been gaslighters and emotional manipulators, because strong men who require, sometimes strong men require strong women to be their shields. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, I did learn a lot, my darling, in terms of, and you, because of, you have this wonderful, generous frugality about you. You can make the most, forgive me, but it is that weekend of Easter. And if you do understand anything about Easter, then you do know that it is actually a global festivity because so much of it came from everybody else's rituals and cultural practices, etc., etc. But mostly it is like all the other religious festivities at the moment, all to do with agricultural practices and how ancestors used to be when, yes, appreciating the cornucopia of the world. So this is what all of these Easter and Holi and Ramadan and all the wonderful festivities around this time are about appreciating the cornucopia that is this planet. And well, bunnies are about fertility and abundance. And so, of course, naturally they'll be brought into, because that's what it's about. Bunnies are about that abundance, fertility. It's about the cornucopia of the world. How wonderful. Oh, but unfortunately, that free will, because of the generation, because of the newbies of the life cycle, the new kids, teens and 20-year-olds always just have the capacity and energy to earn money, but boy, do they blow it. And then they want to go and, go and do other things. And then, oh, can you save us, old people? Kind of thing. But the newbies do. They have the electricity to go do things. This is why it's so sucky for Generation Z. They're like, look, as a Gen Xer, I do look at you and go, for fuck's sake. But as a human being, I look at you and go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Generation Z. I'm so sorry that this is what you inherited. It's not fair. We should have given you everything. You by now, Generation Z should have just been incredibly, yeah. But millennials, it started with millennials, and I don't know what happened. Baby boomers did something to Gen X's, which did something to millennials, which did something. It's crazy. Oh, what are you making? A vanilla butter, my darling?
Well, yeah, I'm making cookie dough, so I'm using butter.
Yeah.
So might as well just do all the wet and dry it together.
Okay, so Dwayne is making cookies. This cornucopia, this kitchen. Cornucopia, this show. Join us. We are a cornucopia. We never stop giving. And then you get a lot for that. So, give back to us, and it's a wonderful thing. This is humanity. This is what we were meant to do. This is why money is beautiful. It's a beautiful energy of trade. So Dwayne is making cookies. He's making a flu bomb. He's making our teas, and I think coffee is already made.
No.
Oh no, I don't need coffee. I'm good. I'm good.
Monday, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We don't do coffee. I had specifically requested to only have coffee during the weekends so that the palate doesn't become immune to it, because that happens to me. And also that it is with that generous frugality that we live with. And that's what I'm talking about, your generous frugality, because you can make something extend. You can create, it's like you're Mary Poppins. You really are. I'm Mary Poppins with ideas. You're Mary Poppins with solutions. If we're going to use, because I love Mary Poppins, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. But I hate that song when whatchamacallit, what's his name? Dick Van Dyke's character. Bert. Thank you, darling. The chimney. The chimney sweep. Bert, Dick Van Dyke. Look, I hope he's got nothing bad said about him, because what a fantastic, Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins. Oh my God. And Julie Andrews played Mary Poppins perfectly, because Mary Poppins is supposed to be a little bit of a bitch, but she's a loving bitch. So, well, that's going to be describing me. Really, ask my stepchildren, my ex-stepchildren, ask anyone. Because I don't believe in being a bitch to hurt people. I believe if you're going to be a bitch, then it's better be for somebody else's betterment, so be loving with it. You're a Mary Poppins of being able to, you constantly provide, darling. You can, and I'm sorry, and this is what I was saying, I'm going to use a term that is from Christianity, but you basically do turn water into wine.
And then you make it taste good. Add a little bit of it.
No, but you do it. But I give, we work in such perfect harmony. That's why we can work in whatever capacity, and we have done so. And cooking wise, etc., etc. If you think I'm talking quite a lot about myself and our capacities, well, welcome to our show. If we can't do that here and show you what we can do and how we do, then what's What's the point?
What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing here? What are we all doing here? Are we using the oxygen well? The oxygen that we get given, the time, the life cycle that we get used? I'm hoping we get 100 years because I have a lot to give back to this earth. I have a lot to give back. You know, I value the oxygen. There's so little oxygen. This is why we need to drink water, water H2O. Dwayne, this is something Dwayne has said to me. We have very little oxygen. He keeps reminding me. And for me, because it goes with what I feel, that, oh my gosh, you know, don't be oxygen thieves, don't be oxygen wasters. But sadly, so many people are suffocating while breathing, mentally and emotionally suffocating because it's such a struggle. And when we're struggling, our cells are suffocating. And no one can create when we're suffocating in our cells. It's terrible what happens to us. But anyway, my darling, so I'm talking about, I will then round this off and talking about the way we live, and that despite the fact that I have lived in material privilege, I'm very good with managing money. I know how to invest money. That, you know, I don't have the access to the money that I could use for all of that anymore at this stage, and I have to be open about that. But I do know what to do with it, and I demonstrated to you, darling, and I demonstrate to you every day. So how good we are with money,
Yeah.
you know,
So
because we are full-time freelance creatives without any help, without any funding, without any grants, and we have to earn the money to pay the bills, to fund our other projects that will help other people, and we eventually want to pay other people and help you at the same time. Everybody. Oh my goodness me. So you're doing wonderful stuff. What do you,
butter and egg.
oh, yum. So Dwayne's doing some mixing and stuff like that, etc., behind there. So I'll just sit over here and talk. What am I saying? What am I saying? I'll go back to the cornucopia of the world. And I think that we're all supposed to benefit from the world. Gosh, I do need to tone my triceps. I'm getting old woman arms. You know, my biceps are cool. Oh, he's making some noise. Triceps. I like my triceps. Oh, I do have triceps still. Anyway, where was I? So I can turn, I'm going to have to turn the volume off.
No, that's it.
Oh, that was it. Sorry. Well, then I don't have to turn the volume off. Dwayne's done his magic. So, yummy. What is that? Is that custody?
Yeah, butter and egg.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. My God. Cookies. 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 Oh, where was I? Right. Right. It's wonderful to be able to to come out of really, really stressful times, being tested and knowing, yeah, you can manage all the lessons of your life that you pick up along the way. They're all meant to make you go, whoa, wow, I really, really know what I'm doing. And now you've got to have belief. And that's where God, the concept of God comes into it. Because you don't know God. You can only know what is there. Right? Explain this to me, darling. You can only know what is logical, right? And tangible. But we know air, not tangible, because we know air, we breathe that. That's scientific, that's logical, right?
Yeah, you can only know what you can see. Well, what are you trying to say?
Belief and knowledge, because how,
right.
you know, do we know God or do we believe in God?
We believe in God.
Because that's the thing about some things you've got to know. So you've got to know yourself first. And that's when you can then believe in God. I feel that you have to know yourself first. You have to know your capabilities. And then when you pray to God, you're praying and self-affirming to yourself that I can do this. And then, of course, do pray to that belief, for the gratitude of the belief, because what takes things into realization and actualization, actually, after dreaming and visualizing, which most of us actually fantasize, and I know I used to. And this motto I have, which is visualization, actualization, is actually from my ex-partner, who said, don't fantasize, visualize. And that's what manifestation is, manifesting. And my darling, this is what you do too. You don't spend a lot of time fantasizing. Also, what helps you with that is because you're an artist. So
Sure.
you can
I have an
express,
outlet.
yes, you have an outlet. But what people need to understand is that most of us, most of you, I no longer, fantasize instead of visualize. And no wonder things don't come to being. No wonder things don't get actualized because everyone's fantasizing and not actually meeting that miracle halfway, the miracle being visualization. You are exceptional at being just sitting down and discipline, the discipline and structure. And so I'm a little bit more chaos, but everything. So discipline and structure needs creativity, chaos. And so why it works for Dwayne is because he's an artist. And my artistry is chaos. The electricity, the furnace where all of it comes from, needs discipline and structure. And no one can do it for you, but this is why it helps if someone gives us briefs, etc., darling. And tell, what do you want? What do you want done? How can we do it for you? We have solutions because we also have ideas, and these ideas we also have analyzed can help you. So so creativity needs structure and planning. And I know how to do all of that. I know how to plan and manage money. I know how to, I am currently, I have structured courses. I know how to structure courses. It's like, this is crazy. I know how to do this. It requires a lot of discipline and structure within a creative mind to do so. And so this is why we work well with people who can discipline and structure us, and or a client's brief, etc., is discipline and structure for the creative person to go, okay, I have a brief, I have a periphery into which I can then pour my creativity. So, but visualization and actualization, yes, is the motto I now truly, truly understand. Before, in my trauma fog, I had the cocoon of privilege to create, so within this, it's like, yes, don't be afraid, go and create. I've had that for half a century. And so we've lived that life when, do you mind if I'm this transparent about us?
Go for it.
How when I was, financially privileged, and then we were best friends, work colleagues, best friends, and then realized that we were meant to be a couple, and there was nothing that was going to stop that. It was a force of nature. Force of nature, you can't stop it. And it was a force of nature of harmony. And so we've lived really well together. And then you were still working as a graphics designer, then you got, working here, and et cetera, et cetera. So we know how we live together when we have material privilege. Oh, no, we still have material privilege. We still have material privilege. I guess fiscal privilege, and we don't have that privilege anymore, but we still have material privilege. And what we do have is the privilege of our ability to create or generate income. At times, we've had to rely. I can't ask people. I have a real issue with asking people for help financially, because I have never waited for people to ask me. I really, really like it if I know that if I have spare money and I can help someone, I will give that money. I'll just say, look, I'll give you some money. But I will also be very blunt about, well, I can't right now. Or if I know that, no, perhaps the best lesson I can tell you right now is I'm not going to do that because I'm not your bank, because I see what you do. So I have had to say no to someone who's just treated me like a bank previously, because I know that they're not actually doing anything to help themselves. They're just relying on fantasy miracles. And I have loved being able to give those miracles to people. I'd love to be able to invest into people because I see that that is a visualization miracle. Fantasy miracle is when you hope that you just do nothing and you just sit there and you just hope someone's going to come along and see, whatever. That's a fantasy miracle. That shit doesn't work. I indulged in it at times, and I have in my healing trajectory, have indulged in it. And it's, but so I had to say no to this person. Like, no, I'm not going to do that because you have shown nothing. You've not met the miracle halfway in any way. And you have shown me nothing of that perhaps you're what does that mean? Because I don't think people should be deserved. No one has to show other people they're deserving of the miracle, but at least believe in yourself enough to know that you are worthy of it.
Sure.
You know?
And you know you can do it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Show
you're
it.
worthy. Yeah, you're
Show
worthy.
it.
Yeah.
But people now, it has changed, and this is that hustle culture now. People just think if they're like showing themselves, the pretty pictures of themselves, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
So they're utilizing the merit of platforms that were given to them and made for them to make them all clones of each other, utilizing that to say, here I am, selfie, whatever, reward me. It doesn't work that way. There's this former friend of mine. I say former because I found out, I'm going to call her Isha. I found out she's actually a misogynist hiding under the shield of feminism. And she made the grave mistake of deliberately misinterpreting what it is I show on my feed versus the people I'm saying, what are they doing? Why are they showing this highlight feed? Why do they slave Monday to Friday and then show everyone what a wonderful life they have? It's for me, I was having a go at these so-called influencers. What are you doing? Why are you wanting this position of accolades only? What are you doing?
But that's not their life.
That's what I'm saying. It's their highlight life then.
Yeah.
Whereas on my feed, I show my life, always have, my work, how I live, how I feel. And it's like, ooh, okay. Don't do this misogyny thing. I very much also feel that women should be allowed to express themselves. Not feel, no. Women should be allowed to express themselves in any which way they want. However, I also know that the patriarchy really governs the way women feel. Even the most, liberated-minded sister friends I have still adhere to patriarchal belief systems. Because this is where it's not so much the patriarchy, it's the belief system that they gel with. Because particularly two sister friends I know who are who aren't particularly religious, they're fiercely intelligent and knowledgeable people, and capable people, but at times they have also had to turn to the belief system to help us through. And I had said earlier that I think the belief systems are about, first of all, know yourself and give it over to the belief. And that's where the belief system can come into it. All right, God, I've met you halfway, now meet me.
Take the wheel.
I know what I'm doing now. I've met you halfway. Now, God, meet me halfway. That's the belief. But you've got to show God, because will your God or your belief system, or the head of that belief system, how would they think of you if they met you today? How do you think they'll think? Are you God worthy?
Are you worthy?
Are you God worthy? I'm going to go digress a little bit into pop culture. Seinfeld, when Elaine Bennis coined the term sponge-worthy because her contraception was sponges and they were running out. And then she had to really decide if the guy she was going to have sex with is sponge-worthy. And I believe that is a wonderful, wonderful way for all women of all cultures. Is that guy worthy of being inside your vagina? For starters. Because, okay, you don't want to have children with that guy, but is he worthy enough to be in your vagina in the first place? That's how it should be chosen. Anyway, and our children are all the things we create, our legacy. That's it, for other people to benefit off, is our legacy, is what we're going to leave when we finally leave this planet. We will have, even if in the small ways, even if we have 50 viewers per show who gain something from what it is we have to share, that's fine. As long as we also gain something from what we share, because this is the world we live in. We trade for something. It's not an eye for an eye. It's energy for energy. And that's what we seem to have forgotten. The cornucopia of the world. So I am talking about how having to start from scratch. And, there have been miracles along the way in people who've just done something magical, and It's so amazing when some miracles happen. But I was talking about the belief systems. So it's not about the patriarchy, it's about the belief systems. Because I'll tell you why. These belief systems that the patriarchy created them with women in mind. Because, well, for instance, who were the first people to believe that Yeshua, that Jesus was who Jesus said he was? It was women. Women believed him first. His mother, and well, his wife. And they were all pretty special in their own way, because without them, and well, Muhammad, when he came out of the cave after having spoken to the angel Gabriel, first went back to where he was from. I can't remember. Gosh, sorry, I'm missing my information. Where it was still pre-Islamic religions. And he, went back, and it was women he talked to first, because there was a lot of horrible things happening. Because people had forgotten way before all of the religions came into, they had forgotten about the ways we need to be, because as the tribes grew bigger, sub-tribes, and they would break off. So then all of a sudden there was different tribes, and then all of a sudden it was comparison. When you have comparison, you get competition. Competition leads to either sport or war, and a need to then have a hierarchy. Oh my God, excuse me. Can you just leave this tin somewhere, because I need to eat food first before I inhale that condensed milk. By the way, you should understand this one thing about me. I can chug a can of condensed milk like no one's business. Okay.
You better believe it.
Oh, I do. But I also really, really, really love myself and love my cells and love my body. So I never feel guilty if I'm going to do something like that. But I'll probably really just for the next 24 hours drink a lot of water if I do that. Water more than healthy eating. Just eat without guilt, and your digestive system will love you. Eat respectfully, mindfully. Don't gulp food in and eat just processed crap, and sugar is all we're eating. Because once you get back once you're addicted to sugar, you're addicted to everything. Addicted to sugar. Sugar addiction is a terrible thing. And I love sugar. I have a sweet tooth. Sugar in moderation. We have cane sugar. We have coconut sugar. And I love sweetness. I'll be really full after a main course, after dinner, and I'll be like, darling, what's for dessert? And then Dwayne will be like, okay, wait, I've got something. And then I'll say, how about this? And Dwayne will be like, I can do that for you. So we always have something. We always have cookies, cupcakes, butterfee now, halwa, always something for me, darling. You make something, scones, and you'll make cream. You'll make cream out of thin air or thickened cream, iced cream. And you just one thing after the other. It's amazing. It's Mary Poppins. And I'm a solutions person. I can give me some ingredients. What can I make out of that? I can't cook, but this is where the harmony comes in, because Dwayne can cook, and I know flavors.
Yeah.
And so I know, and then I believe. And so he knows, and he believes what I'm saying. So that's it. That's what we have with people. People should be an interaction of knowledge and belief. Know yourself, believe the other person, because that person is supposed to know themselves. And then there's no reason to lie or no reason to whatever, because I think that's a wonderful interaction transition. Belief, so knowledge and then belief. So anyway, cornucopiaism, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm saying. And I feel, we all have a right to exist, because the Euro construct has done some amazing things in the world. My apologies. I haven't finished about the patriarchal belief systems. But I do understand why, because women listen to the belief systems or read them, and it's like, yes, but this is how we believe. So, women believe in these philosophies already that Siddhartha Gautama and all the others, understood. Women already inherently, innately know this. That's why when reading a belief system that has been written by patriarchy, women go, wow, I really resonate with this, because it was written with the woman Not with the woman in mind, but with the woman philosophy of kindness, but strength and detachment. Why? Because a woman has to give birth to a human being inside her than out of her vagina. Detachment, please. That was once her body. To understand that, miracle, to do things for community. This was already innate in woman. And so really, my beautiful people, and perhaps this is what those white twins astrologers, Euro white people said, be careful what you say, you're going to offend everybody. So this is what I'm saying. That religion was stolen from woman's knowledge, that women shared freely. That's, oh gosh, the word, Dwayne reminded me that I told him this about the word gossip came from gossip.
Yeah.
The etymology of it came from when women used to share knowledge with each other. So much of what women knows, what women know, has become vulgar or gossip or weak or witchcraft or weaker, oh my God. Ha, my God. Anyway, so I'm now talking about, as I started with, oh gosh, when you really break down what each one of us has to pay for in order to be, for the cost of living. And we live luxuriously but frugally. And I'm saying what I mean by that is that our way we live. We love good, tastes. We love brewed coffee, Arabic inspired spiced coffee, you know. Um, we love that. These are this simple. We love teas, brewed teas. We love simple food, but elegant food. Simple food, and by that I mean not complicated, complex layers that all harmonize. And that's what you do, and that's what we create.
Yeah, and I think you've enhanced my cooking skills.
And you, because you believed me, the first person to believe that just because I can't cook, that doesn't mean I don't know flavors. And you are the first person to give me that respect, my darling. Because even my women friends have laughed at me, like, what do you know? You can't cook. I'm like, yeah, but I know how to harmonize everything. I know how to, and I know how to harmonize everything. I know how to harmonize my mind with my palate. And my digestive system, which wasn't in harmony with me for a long, long time. Now, though, I can eat fruit. I can drink coffee again, which, by the way, all of us should take heed of this. We shouldn't drink coffee first thing in the morning. Let our natural body's caffeine, the cortisol, and everything else in our adrenal system, let it do its magic with the circadian rhythm, with the rhythm of the world, nature, how we react, our bodies that evolved from, oh gosh, the elements that stood up after a long, long, long process of evolution, that stood up and shed the fur, and we were without melanin, and we burnt to a crisp, and our brains went, oh my gosh, evolve, we're hurting. So the ones who are burnt to a crisp actually developed a thicker skin, which just took the heat of that wonderful electricity, star up in the sky. And created protection and hardiness and just heat. Ah, so good. But then the brain developed an ability to withstand, so it developed the melanin cells. But we all live in harmony, so the new generation that couldn't get melanin had to get rid of melanin in order to survive. They kickstarted an evolution of exploration and conquering and finding out who they are. So it's just new generations. We can all live in harmony. We love the Eurostream. We love the Eurostream, pop culture. I wouldn't do without it. But we love it from the basis of who we are as who we are. Brown people and people of the world, people of the global majority. Ah, my goodness me. It is a very complicated world. But before I go, I should perhaps tell you what I'm wearing. I have so much I wanted to talk about. Look, it is the 1st of April. I was going to talk to you about April Fool's Day. I don't actually know what it means. But I want to show you what I'm wearing. And not show you the microwave. So I am wearing a t-shirt and culottes, which were actually pants, and I had them hemmed in, which is a bit sacrilegious because these culottes are by legendary Australian designer, and she is of Chinese origin, Chinese ancestry, but she is as Aussie as they come, mate. And these pants, okay? Jenny Key. These are legendary Jenny Key And I have taken you to an exhibition of the legendary Benny
Yes, I
Key
remember that.
with Linda Jackson because they were a
That
dynamic
was
design duo.
one of the first things we did.
Yes, together. And I do know a lot of information about Australian fashion because I collect Australian fashion and I was in Australia in the 80s and in the 90s, etc. And of course, being in fashion, I know fashion. Oh my God, Australian fashion at one stage was amazing, and what especially people like Jenny Key and Linda Jackson were doing, and who else? Adele, oh my God, Perry Cutton, Carrie McGee. I've got all of these clothes. Harry Hu, George Gross, Merivale. Oh my gosh, all of these Australian labels of a time, even Katie's and Suzanne, because Australian made products were incredible. So, and so, from that time, amazing. So I'll talk about that another time. Also, Australian magazines and what Australian magazines used to be like, because I'll talk to you about that separately, darling. Remind me, because of this T-shirt. This T-shirt is called is Lumiere, right? So Lumiere meaning illumination, and this cap. But this is from another legendary design duo, Sass and Bide. Now, this particular T-shirt wasn't bought from Sass and Bide. This particular T-shirt was a gift with purchase when back then, when magazines all of a sudden developed this fierce rivalry as to who will buy them more. Back when Australian magazines were mwah, 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 mwah. Australian magazines, American magazines, oh my God, Indian magazines, oh my goodness me. But Australian magazines, I think we had the most magazines per cap, I don't know, whatever, however way you want to get that statistic. But our magazines were amazing. So I don't remember if this was Harper's Bazaar or Elle. It would be one of the top ones, or Marie Claire. But it was about, gifts. So the gifts we'd get with purchase, oh my gosh, let me tell you, my friends, because I do have to go soon. I'm sorry. I just had to take a sip of hot tea because as I moved it, I realized my husband had heated it up, and I was like, I have to drink this. So this gift, so that you'd get amazing things like Maybelline, mascara, and lipsticks, and Revlon lipsticks, and sometimes YSL, depending on the quality or the caliber of the magazine. And the lower calibers, you'd have food sachets or something, and so, or and that's back. This is also back in the day when all the magazines had perfume strips. Do you remember those perfume strips in all the magazines? I will talk about all of this separately. But this one came with one of those higher quality magazines, and this was in the either late 90s or early 2000s, and I have had this particular Sass and Bide gift with one of the magazines since that time, and I love it. So, I have always looked after everything. So this generous and luxurious frugality that we live in isn't new for me. I've always appreciated everything. Even this T-shirt is very, very old now, and it's now heading into vintage territory. I bought this, say, 1999 or 2000,
I wear it a lot.
and this is now your T-shirt. I hardly wore it because it didn't match my body. I wore it sometimes, and because it was a very special T-shirt for me. So it matches your body, and it was meant for you, my darling.
Obviously.
So, and then this is, look, you illustrate like this and all of that. If you look at one of our latest, Dwayne's artwork, his comic cover portraits, please have a look, and please consider this as a gift for someone, a lifelong gift. Having a comic book cover being made of you as your favorite comic book character, you as a character, or as a gift for someone else. Go and look at our promo trailer for that, or our promo video for that, please, and hit us up. Contact Dwayne. So I guess that's all I really want to talk about, because I want to keep this less than an hour 15 at least, and because it's almost time to break our fast, friends. We went for a walk, we ran errands, we planned things, we executed them, we made sure we were a bit flexible with the variants, and so we were able to, this is planning. So I will talk to you about this, about planning and what manifesting is, and it's all just fascinating, and I'm very grateful for these lessons I'm learning. As I said, it's been fairly difficult, but I'm very grateful for them. And we have had miracles we've had help. I'm not saying we haven't had any help, but we don't ask for help. And there are people who, without us asking, have understood that, well, because I can't ask for help. I've never been able to ask for help because I've never needed to. Which makes me really, really sad, because I now realize at my age, my mother actually had to ask for help because she went from extreme privilege to not, because my mother was so hardworking, so diligent, so disciplined, so beautiful, so structured. I didn't realize how creative she was. She was so wonderful, fashionable, beautiful, kind, loving. My mother is God to me, as is my husband. And yes, we're all God. That's the understanding. But are you God worthy? Are you worthy of calling yourself that? I feel I am. And that's because I not only now know me, but I also now, with the more knowledge I have of myself, the more belief I have. I can't believe that these words are coming out of my mouth. I believe in God. I believe in God. I believe in God. That's crazy. I can't believe I'm saying this. That's because I know me now. I don't believe in God because I don't know me. I now believe in God because I know me, and that's the path to God. Not the other way, that you go lose yourself in God. And how are you ever going to find yourself when all the God language right now is filling your mind with mantras and psalms and chants and constantly having praise for God in your mouth, which you should. You should, but you should also first be there.
Okay.
Well, we're back. That was some really interesting things that just happened. We got disconnected, and I don't really know why, but we did. Maybe because of what I was saying. It's just too much for the most important part of our show, the daily. I will continue this conversation. There's a lot of stuff I want to continue talking about, particularly our connection to God, and I exist, yes, and that's because we exist. But I believe you have to know yourself first, because in knowing ourselves is how we were able to create a God. In knowing ourselves, and as the wiser we got, the more knowledge we got, we understood, wow, look at what we are able to do. There must be something else about us. And so we made that energy, that electricity, that magic God, because that's belief. Know yourself, then believe. Don't just believe and not know yourself and rely on something else, and then your prayers don't come true. Only when they come true do you say, oh gosh, see, God does really work in mysterious ways. And if they don't come true, it's like, see, God knows. I mean, there's no God or whatever. Or maybe, But know yourself first and then have gratitude. That is what prayer is. That is what God is. It's God-attitude. God attitude is gratitude. I'm coining words now. I'm being a bit playful. But anyway, it is time for the daily egg breakfast, and I am ready for that. So, that's right. We've got my toast will come after. That's why I'm still talking. Like, no, I forgot. You were going to give me toast once I have said bye. I will continue this conversation. I will continue talking about our generous frugality, how you have to live life beautifully, and money has got nothing to do with that. Well, actually, it does, and the cost of living. And I was breaking down how much what it takes for actually. Ooh, cookies. Sorry, cookies. Butter vanilla cookies that are going to be slathered with, what is it called? Dolce latte, the condensed milk thing. I don't know, something like that. We'll show you later. So we've got so luxurious in terms of how you appreciate something. Miracles exist. They've come through other people for us. They've come through ourselves, but they mostly come through the knowledge of yourself. Consistency of excellence is consistency of knowledge and consistency of belief, which is something we all struggle with. I do. But that's when you have to bring yourself into the present, and it's the consistency of knowledge. Know yourself and then believe. And then just believe. Know yourself and then just believe.
Dolce de leche.
Dolce de leche. It's Italian. So leche is milk. Yes, I was going latte, lei, or lei is French. Dolce de leche.
Dolce de leche.
Dolce de leche. So it's like sweetened condensed milk. Ooh, I love it. Okay, bye, Seb. See you later. I'll come back later and talk more.